Our story today is called A New Way to See. Of all the people who kept the rules, Saul was the best. "I'm good at being good," he'd tell you. He was very proud and very good, but he wasn't very nice. Saul hated anyone who loved Jesus. He traveled around looking for them. He wanted to catch them and put them in prison. Could you imagine being put in prison because you loved Jesus? Well, this is what Saul was doing to people. He wanted everyone to forget all about Jesus. He didn't believe Jesus was the rescuer, and he didn't believe Jesus was alive either. But do we know that Jesus is alive? Yes, he is alive. You see, Saul had never met Jesus, so one day Jesus met Saul. Saul was on his way to Damascus when suddenly a dazzling light flashed like lightning. It was brighter than the sun. It was too bright. Saul shielded his eyes and fell to the ground. He heard a loud voice. It was too loud. It gave Saul a headache. "Saul, Saul," said the loud voice, "why are you fighting me?" "Lord," Saul answered, "who are you?" "I am Jesus," said the voice. "When you hurt my friends, you are hurting me too." Saul's whole body trembled. "Go to the city," Jesus said. "I'll tell you what to do." When Saul opened his eyes, he couldn't see. His helpers had to hold his hand and lead him around like a little child. So what does it mean if you can't see at all? Yeah, it means that you're blind. Saul was blind for 3 whole days, and yet it was as if he was seeing for the very first time. Meanwhile, there was a man called Ananias who loved Jesus. Jesus came to him in a dream. "Go to Saul and pray for him, and I will make him see again." Ananias knew all about Saul and how he hated Jesus' followers. "Lord, he has come to hurt us." But Jesus told Ananias, "Saul is the one I've chosen to tell the whole world who I am." Why do you think Jesus chose Saul to tell the whole world who he was? Yeah, because Jesus picked anybody. It doesn't matter if you were a sinner. So Ananias went to Saul. "Brother Saul," Ananias said, "it was you Jesus met on the road." And Ananias prayed for Saul. Suddenly, Saul could see again, but he saw everything differently. He wasn't mean anymore. He even changed his name from Saul to Paul, which means small and humble, the very opposite of proud. And do you know what Ananias' name means? The Lord is full of grace. Grace is just another word for a gift, which is funny because that's what Paul's message was about from here on in. It's not about keeping rules, Paul told people. You don't have to be good at being good for God to love you. You just have to believe what Jesus has done and follow him. Because it's not about trying, it's about trusting. It's not about rules, it's not about grace. God's free gift that cost him everything. What happened to Paul? He met Jesus. Paul got a new job. He called himself a servant and traveled everywhere, telling everyone about Jesus. He got shipwrecked 3 times. He even ended up in prison. Could you imagine being shipwrecked 3 times and going to prison? I couldn't either. God loves us, he wrote from prison. Nothing can ever, no, not ever, separate us from the never stopping, never giving up, unbreaking, always and forever love of God he showed us in Jesus. And so it was, just as God promised Abraham that dark night all those years ago, the family of God's children grew and grew until one day they would come together to number more than even all the stars in the sky. Okay, so that was our story, and now we're going to do our craft. So this is what we're going to do for our craft. We have blind Saul on this side, and you can see how he's sad. And then when you flip it over to the other side, you see happy Paul. So this is what we're going to do today. So to start with, you just need 1 paper plate. Next, you're going to take a black construction paper and you're going to cut 2 squares into it, and then you are going to glue them onto your plate because this will be Saul's eyes when he is blind. When you get done, it should look a little something like this. Next, what I did was I cut 2 little hair pieces out of this white construction paper, and then I colored them brown, but if you have a brown construction paper, then you can just use that. So it should look something like this. So next what I did was I took my white construction paper again, and then I cut a beard out of it. But again, if you have brown, then you can just use brown. So when I got that drawn, I then taped it onto my paper plate, and then I gave him a little sad face to show that he is sad when he is blind. So what I did next is I'm going to turn him to the back, and then I'm going to draw 2 eyes to make him happy and not blind anymore. Now that I have my eyes drawn, what I did next was the same thing I did to this side. I'm going to draw 2 little hair pieces and then a beard, but this time with the beard, I'm going to draw a smiley face instead of a frowny face. So this is what Paul should look like when you are done with the hair and the beard. So next what I did is I got a popsicle stick, and you can either glue it or tape it onto your paper plate so that way you can flip him easier. So you can go between sad, blind Saul, and then happy Paul. Okay, so that was our story and that was our craft. So thanks for watching and have a great Sunday.